Nintendo just announced that the highly speculated June Direct is coming tomorrow, and dangerous as it is to say, I think that we're in for something really great. Currently, we found ourselves in a situation unlike any other in the Switch era. We are out of games. Not that there's a shortage of things to play, God knows I've barely scratched the surface of Tears of the Kingdom, but for the first time in this generation, the future is a blank slate. Everything past Pikmin 4's release next month is a mystery, an entire half year of nothingness. And while, yes, part of this is likely a natural consequence of the Switch entering its final stretch, it's not like Nintendo's just gonna stop releasing games for its most successful system all of a sudden, especially with an investors meeting coming up this Friday. So, with very, possibly foolishly high hopes, let's get into the predictions. First things first, let me just get my biggest co-prediction out of the way and say Kid Icarus Uprising HD. It's been over a year since we heard about Bandai Namco hiring for a 3D action game remaster contracted by Nintendo, and in my mind, whether or not this is Uprising basically depends on how willing I am to get my heart broken at the time. Apparently the answer to that today is very willing, because I think we've got a great shot. As we get closer and closer to the end of the Switch era, and more of Nintendo's biggest IPs inevitably start moving towards next-gen development, I think it makes more sense than ever to let some of the often overshadowed series take up the spotlight. I mean, Metroid Dread and Pikmin 4 somehow exist, and to me, that shows a shift in focus. When's the next time you'll get to expose Pit to an install base of 125 million, Nintendo? Make it happen. Speaking of underappreciated masterpieces, Pikmin 4 is on its way, and I think it'll have the biggest section in the Direct. I'm not expecting a ton, because I don't think we need a ton, but night missions should definitely be focused on, especially if they're as game-changing as I expect them to be. This is something I've wanted from Pikmin for a really long time, so I'm hoping it's actually ingrained into the risk-reward gameplay the series is known for, and not just a handful of required story-specific segments. We're just about due for a new wave of Mario Kart DLC, which is especially exciting because we now know that multiple characters are coming alongside the tracks. Just to throw some predictions out there, the tracks this time around will be Koopa Cape, Mushroom Bridge, Piranha Plant Cove, Sunset Wilds, Los Angeles Laps, Vanilla Lake, Dino Dino Jungle, and a brand new track, with the returning racers being PD Piranha and Pauline. Splatoon 3 similarly has DLC on the horizon, albeit far further away and far more mysterious. I don't think Side Order gets a full reveal here, more so a cryptic trailer and maybe a fall release window. All I know is that I'll be emotionally torn between the joy of getting another Octo expansion and the pain of knowing that the next Animal Crossing will be pushed further down the road to make it happen. Back to new announcements, I think a Tomodachi Life sequel is a pretty likely reveal. The game was a hit on the 3DS, selling over 6 million units, and the demand for more is absolutely there. People love Mii games, and there hasn't been a single Direct announcement that wasn't followed by people clamoring for Tomodachi shortly after. Plus, Miitopia introduced a whole new Mii maker that I'm sure would be put to excellent use in a brand new game. Grezzo, who ported Miitopia, and EPD7, who made Tomodachi Life, both haven't had any releases since 2021, so I think the timing is pretty perfect. Everybody 1-2 Switch comes out in like 10 days and we have a single screenshot from it, so while its presence in the Direct is inevitable, the funniest thing Nintendo could do is not show it at all. Also probably the nicest thing they could do. Finally, the one more thing. I can see this going two ways, both of them being big. One is Donkey Kong. Tropical Freeze is almost a decade old, and there are few franchises that Nintendo actively keeps in rotation that feel as overdue for a new release as Donkey Kong does. It also feels like Nintendo's been giving DK a little more respect lately. He's getting an entire portion of Super Nintendo World dedicated to him, and there's that rumored spin-off movie at Illumination, so a new game would be the perfect opportunity to push him even further into the spotlight. The second option is 2D Mario. As many of you know, I was on the Odyssey 2 train for a long time, but eventually, you've gotta move on to another release in the exact same franchise. A 2D Mario as one of the Switch's last big games makes sense. Firstly, it's Mario, when doesn't he have a game coming out? But secondly, it seems perfectly logical to work on the next mind-blowing 3D title for the Switch's successor while still pleasing Mario's audience with a fun 2D adventure in the meantime. The last original 2D game was New Super Mario Bros. U, which is even older than Tropical Freeze. Plus, a new Mario game is strangely absent from 2023, despite him having an enormous movie release and an enormous theme park release this year. The cross-promotion would go crazy. After much deliberation, I think I've got to go with Mario, if only because the concept of a new Donkey Kong game actually coming out is something that still seems insane to me. But hey, I had just about given up on Pikmin 4 as well, so this is another case of me very much hoping my prediction is wrong. And speaking of predictions, I'd love to hear yours. What games do you think we'll see in the Nintendo Direct? Are you leaning towards the generally accepted, or do you have something crazy in mind that few others anticipate? Let me know in the comments below, and if you need me, I'll be mentally preparing myself for the anguish brought on by Kid Icarus's continual lack of appearance. 25 years.